Alright, I'm back in Elder Scrolls Online. I'm actually on the PTS because this is a nice place, nice quiet place to sit and look at things and make videos. So I just want to go over today some of the very basic ways that players can increase their XP as they're leveling, you're leveling skills and you're leveling characters and so forth. So these are ways that you can get XP buffs without having to get involved in the fancy expensive stuff like Psijic Ambrosia or the Mythical Aetherial Ambrosia. I just wanted to touch base on this because there are a lot of videos on YouTube right now showing how people have gone from 1 to 50 in about anywhere from 5 to 12 hours. And so this is sort of basically how they have done it. But I do want to go ahead and just kind of go briefly over the various buffs. Yeah, there are some limits to how much you can stack your XP. So I just kind of want to get to that so that you understand how this all works. Of course, the first thing that I want to show you is to go into purchasing the ESO Plus membership. There is a lot of benefits to this, not to mention that you have access to all the DLC, game pack, and location, which you'll probably need if you're going to be speed leveling. The basic account has a 10% bonus to experience points, and also the other location thing is that, you know, we levelers love Rothgar, okay? So once you have all your buffs together, you would want to come down to a public dungeon in Rothgar right now because there is an event going on. Particularly, Rothgar is very lucrative, and Old Orsinium or Rekindlelith, which is over here somewhere, and I haven't gone to discover on the PTS, so I can't show you on the map. But also, any of the public dungeons in any of the zones, they should be able to give you some really good XP. But why I mention Rothgar is because Rothgar is the first zone that was battle leveled in the beginning, and so when you're coming into a battle leveled zone, you've got some really strong mobs here, and even just a few of them will really. I've leveled an entire werewolf skill line in Old Orsinium in a day, so there's a lot of good mobs. They spawn fast, and that's why people like public dungeons. So continuing on, there's also the Crown Store. If you don't mind pumping out a little cash, you can also get XP scrolls, and these will give you 50% XP bonus from all sources for 2 hours. I've used them. Ignore the price here because I'm on PTS. It's not 1 crown, but just so you know, the crown XP is 50%, and so is the Psijic Ambrosia, which is a lot of work to get and also very expensive. It is also 50% bonus. The difference between the two is that one lasts a bit longer than the other, and that's it. So you can also get the Crown XP if you don't want to spend cash on ESO. All is not lost. So you also have a grouping buff. So if you get one other person in a group, you will get 10% buff to XP, because you're going to get a percentage of what their XP earnings are, and that will help you, and it will help them as well. A lot of people are taking low characters and grouping together with a veteran character because veteran characters earn a larger pool of XP at a time than the lower characters, and so your percentage of that larger XP pool that a veteran character can produce is really going to help you quite a bit, because their XP pool is so large. Your 10% of that is going to be large too. So that is why a lot of people are leveling up their guildies by grouping with a veteran. The Ring of Mara is another grouping buff. So the Pledge of Mara is basically you get together with another character, and while you're adventuring with them, you'll also gain another 10% XP. So with the grouping, the default grouping buff plus the Pledge of Mara, you got right there 20% bonus. Then the next one, which I like a lot because this doesn't require you to be in a group, on top of anything else that you might have going for buffs, you can create garb or gear, sorry, armor and weapons with the training trait. And the training XP gained by each piece does not increase depending on the level of the gear, but it does increase with the quality of the gears. You could probably have a guildmate crafter friend make a set of these for you. Hopefully, you know, if they're interested in helping you out, it won't cost you a lot. You could probably find it for sale or even in the guild bank. So ask your guild leader if they have any of these training gear sitting around waiting. You don't have to make just plain old clothing either. So you could also make a set gear with the buff traits, you know. What I mean by that, if you're not familiar with buff traits, these are like the image here on the left hand side. This is a buff set. There are some that are craftable. This one in particular is not craftable, but there are other sets that you can craft that have a bunch of different bonuses to health and stamina and damage and all this stuff. So you could have several pieces of this with the training trait while you're out there in the world killing things. And so what I wanted to say about the limits here, though, is according to the UESP.net wiki, the XP cap is set to prevent gaining more than 10% of your total level value, and you can only stack all this XP up to about 80%, 85%. So that should be plenty, really, it should be plenty. So once you've got all of your XP buffs from your various different setups, then you would want to go into areas to do a couple of things. So first of all, your main quest is going to always give you a really nice chunk of XP plus a very important skill point. So do not skip those. You will be haunted by the profit every time you level up to be eligible for another one of these quests. So go ahead and take it and do it. And then there's also other quests with both the Fighters Guild and the Mages Guild that will also earn you a lot of XP to do. Take those as well. There is no harm in doing some of the quests involved in this game in order to gain. According to the same website, main quests, dungeon quests, and very hard quests such as location quests, and what I mean by location is that each zone and each faction will have a main quest. In fact, each faction has a quest that will take you all the way from your starting area to the end of your faction zones area on a journey. There's usually a story involved with your faction, so take those quests. They give skill points and they give large amounts of XP. Take those as well. Then dungeon quests. Any of the dungeons, a lot of the dungeons will have a quest that goes with them. Go ahead, take that quest, kill those bosses and mobs, get your sky shards, and move along. Don't take up a lot of time. So if you're main quest, main goal is to just level as fast as 5 hours, 7 hours, whatever. Get your buff. I would say just start at the first zone and go through all of the public dungeons. You're going to get lots and lots of XP for doing that because there's a lot of mobs in here and they spawn quickly, you know, so there's no standing around in here. You're going to get a lot of mobs, so in a public dungeon and with low level characters, I highly recommend getting that high level character come with you to keep you alive. Other people will come into the public dungeons to level various skill lines. You just plug in these skills that you want to level and go do some quests. Number one, you hardly have to do any work to level up until the morph phase. Before you can morph the weapon, you can level that up pretty easily by just slotting, just having like a leveling bar where you slot the skills that you want to level, and then before you turn in the quest. And when you turn in the quest, you get lots of XP, and so does your skill bar. So that is how you can also be leveling your skill bar as well as your character level. I hope that this information is helpful. Do what you like to do, and you should be able to level really fast, especially in one Tamriel. And get those public dungeons, get your XP boosts, your friends, you know, if you want to spend a little crowns, go ahead and do that. You can only have up to the 85%, and then the rest is up to you. You're also going to have to run around and grab a bunch of sky shards. But you know what you can also do is have somebody craft you a set of gear for every 10 levels. So usually if you're brand new, you're coming out of the whaling prison, you're probably going to be about level 3 or 4 when you get out of the tutorial area. So from that point on, you can probably, you know, get a very basic set of gear for level 10, level 20, 30, 40, and then at 50, you've gone into the champion zone and you start wearing the end gear. The champion point system levels also based on XP. One thing I forgot to mention here is that doing daily dungeons, daily quests, repeatables, those are also good XP. And like in Orsinium, you would come here to the Morkel Stronghold, and these guys will give you a daily dungeon to do, a daily boss runs, and that sort of thing. Also, the Mages Guild, the Fighters Guild also have daily dungeon runs also that are associated with their guild, and you also increase level in their guild while doing them. So there are plenty of opportunity. So I just wanted to go over that part. The buffs, you can easily buff up with just a few simple things, several pieces of armor, the group buff. If you spend crowns, you can, if you want to spend a little cash, you can get the ESO Plus and the Crown XP. You should be good to go, and you should be able to do it pretty fast and have a lot of fun doing it. I know it's a slog for a lot of people, but I don't know. I like running through these public dungeons, even though I have 4 top level characters in this game. It's always fun to go through these dungeons. So I hope that you found this helpful and informative, and that you have a good time leveling your character in Elder Scrolls Online. Thank you for watching.